Hey guys, it's your girl Nici, and I have a special surprise for you. We're doing Reddit, but we're coming out with a friend. We're gonna have NekoDarius with us, and we're gonna react to some Reddit stories. We're gonna start with some "Am I the assholes?" and we'll get into some petty stories, cause that's just how life is. We're gonna mix it up. We're gonna make it great, and that's just how it is. All love to Darius for coming through, and I appreciate it. See you soon. Darius, thank you for joining me for Reddit. I appreciate
Hey,
it.
what's up?
Okay, so the first thing we have is a pro revenge story.
A
It's
revenge story?
a pro revenge story. So they're getting back at somebody, who wronged them some way somehow. It's by compile underscore comment. So let's see where they at. The title's
Okay.
called Phone Calls for the Previous Owner Who Turned Out to Be My Shitty Manager. This is gonna be a long one. Too long didn't
Sounds like
read
it's
at
gonna
the
be a
end.
long one.
This could also go in the Am I the Butthole sub? You guys decide. Names have been changed to keep anonymity and
Anonymity?
yeah, that one. I'm a grown adult. Don't know how to say it. Anemones.
See, anonymity, me?
Oh.
Anemones?
Anemone. And you know what? To keep themselves and their friends anonymous. You got me. That's what it is. I'm not sitting here struggling for hours. I'm sorry. It's not your girl's place. We just gonna move on. Mobile phones became common in my country around 2004, just as I finished high school. My parents bought me my first phone, a secondhand Nokia. Nokias never die. I don't care what anybody said. Nokia's phones back in the day, you could drop it, run it over, put it in some cement, and it stuck.
You
I
know, I
don't
had
know
an old
how.
Nokia that got thrown into the attic. My mom was mad at me one time, and she threw my
Mm-hmm.
phone in the attic. I guarantee you,
It's
because I've
still there.
moved from that place, I guarantee that phone is still up there, and I guarantee it still works.
Probably. Like, they don't make things like they used to, and I'm so mad about it. I wish things, because like there were TVs that would last 20 plus years, great condition.
Mm.
The only thing that changed is what we connect to it. And because we don't connect the same things, we don't use those televisions. And everyone's like, I want it
Yeah.
skinnier. So therefore, you want it more fragile. That's all I heard. That's all I
But
heard.
I didn't want to make a skinny TV. You know, skinny TVs are okay, but I'm looking at my TV and I feel like I can just look right through it.
I have this Roku 43-inch. It's a nice little thing. But I'm
You
like,
got a
if I
Roku?
yeah, I got a Roku. I have two of
Oh my
them.
God. Oh, ew.
Yeah. Well, see,
Ew.
they're cheaper televisions, and for what I need them for, they're really good. I don't need the most expensive. I'm in an apartment and in a place where, they like taking things that aren't theirs. So, your girl don't need
Gotcha.
it. Your girl don't
So
need
what
a,
you're
a really
saying, what you're
expensive.
saying is that I need to come by your house and use your TV for like a few days, and then nobody will know that it's not my TV. Is that what you're saying?
You could take my TV and my insurance would laugh me out the door because they'd be like, here's your $3.
Oh,
We're not reimbursing you for $3. I'm sorry.
yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
Okay, back to the story. Okay, mobile phones became common in my country around 2004, just as I finished high school. My parents bought me my first phone, a secondhand Nokia. It was bulky and basic, but I promised myself that someday I'd buy myself a new phone with my own money.
Hmm.
When college
This is gonna go
started,
bad, isn't it?
yeah, when college started, I had a 2 hour daily commute. In high school, I excelled academically and won several district level awards. These awards were being distributed during my first year of college. One nationalized bank award finally gave me enough money to buy a new phone. I bought a Sony Excursion K300i and a premium SIM card, not realizing it had been abandoned by its previous owner. By the third day, I started receiving calls for a guy named Pistache for various financial institutions. It turned out the number previously belonged to him, and for 20 years, I've been getting these calls. Determined to keep my premium number, I began a routine of blocking wrong numbers. Back then, blocking was device specific, so each time I got a new phone, I had to start over, keeping a list of numbers to block. I got my first job after graduating in 2009. Around 2010, I was assigned a new project with a notorious reputation for burning people out due to a nefarious project manager named Bits. Do we want to place bets now?
Um, I
Like
bet 1 penny.
1 penny.
1 penny.
My question is, how much of an annoying person do you have to be to be to, I've been in a position where I've been somebody's manager. It doesn't require you to do a lot. You don't have to be that mean. You don't have to do a bunch of things to make life easy or difficult. You just gotta be, like, for real. You just gotta be. I never understood why people thought they needed to be annoying or pushy or really just trying to, like, take over in situations that they didn't need to be in. And, like, at the end of the day, you gotta do you. Like, it's no big deal. No one's gonna hurt you. No one's gonna harm you. You just gotta be nice. Like, that's it.
Right.
I just never understood that. But okay.
I had a boss.
Let's see.
His name was
I don't know his
Flary.
full. I didn't know his full name for quite a while. He took pride in making our lives a living hell, which is okay, I guess. Bits ruled with an iron fist. From the moment his team stepped into the office, they were met with a barrage of emails. Give me 1 second, because I really need to mute Discord because these people are annoying. He's
What
popping
happened?
up. Give me 1 second.
Hey, Nici.
Get off my Discord.
Nici.
It's so annoying. Okay. Sorry about that.
Nici.
Yes.
You know, thinking about bosses, I had a boss. His name was Flary, and he sucked.
What did Flary do to you?
So Flary sat back and he acted like he was God's gift to the world in this job that I had, that I will not go into full detail about due to the fact that I might give away too much. But Flary was such a rude person. He was sexist, misogynistic as well, and he definitely felt like everybody was out to want him, despite being fully married.
Ew.
Flary didn't like having anybody tell him that he was wrong. He literally said he was the top 1% of what the job is. I was like, okay, if you're the top 1%, where's the certification that says that you're top 1%?
Where's that check money though?
Right, like if you're top 1%, I'm expecting people to be coming to your door, knocking your door down to learn from you, Flary, but that was never the case.
And on top of that,
That was his whole goal.
on top of that, you'd be on my level. Like, bro, you'd be working from home every day. You would not have to come into the office. You would not have to deal with underlings. I hate when people are like on the biggest and the baddest, but I'm like, but you here though.
Exactly though. So yeah, Flary was just the worst at that. And I just always wondered, Flary, why do you gotta act like you're so big and bad? And it turns out he was just, scared because I was young and he hired like a whole young team who was like way younger than him. So he was afraid that he was gonna get aged out. And I'm like, but dude, you hired us.
Yeah. And it's just like if you're being decent, you don't have to worry about that.
Exactly. So, anyways, long story short, Flary fired me and my friends.
What? Larry needs to go someplace with himself. Like,
Yeah,
disrespect.
Flary does. But then you know what? In a bit of divine retribution, 2 years later, he got fired.
I mean, you get what you dish out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy about that. I know that sounds weird, but he was such a bad boss. So, the moral of the story:
be nice.
Don't get a Flary, and don't have a Flary. But be nice, but don't have a Flary. Sorry, I just had to mention that.
No, you're good. You're good. Not having a Flary is what it's all about. I don't even want a Flary in my like vicinity, like, because at the end of the day, what can Flary do for me that I can't do for myself?
Bro,
Huh.
Flurry made me go home every day, acting me being upset with the world.
Mm.
It was bad. Even my wife was sad that I was sad.
Oh, and we know how your wife loves us.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. Okay. So we have okay. Living hell. Who is blowing? You know what? I'm ignoring it because y'all just don't care. Okay, go for living hell. Bits ruled with iron fist. We did that. Okay, Bits ruled with an iron fist. From the moment his team stepped into the office, they were met with a barrage of emails and messages, each more urgent than the last. Bits thrived on creating chaos, often changing project deadlines on a whim, demanding his team work late into the night and through the weekends. Bits' presence loomed over every task. He
Why does
insisted
it sound
on
like Flurry?
micromanaging. He insisted on micromanaging every detail, yet was quick to take the credit for any successes, no matter how small.
Damn.
Failures,
Does this
however,
person know
were
Flurry?
their brothers. You didn't know? You didn't
Oh, that's even worse.
know? Failures, however, were met with his notorious tirades, publicly berating his team and assigning blame without hesitation. His unpredictable temper kept everyone on edge, afraid to make the slightest mistake. Meetings were another tool in his arsenal of torment. He scheduled them during lunch breaks and after hours, ensuring no one could escape his grasp. These meetings were often pointless, serving only to reinforce his dominance and disrupt any semblance of work life balance his team might have had. Bro, I had a manager like that. You know what we did? We stopped showing up to work, and his
Yeah,
ass got fired.
that's
And
pretty
we
much what you
all
got to
kept
do.
our job. Okay. His relentless
It was
stream
worse
of
that the manager of my manager basically kept turning a blind eye because they were too busy.
I love them managers.
I do too.
People, what managers don't understand is like we as your employees are not tools. We are people. We use tools to help you with your job. We are not the tools themselves. And then on top of all of that, it's like just respect me. I'm not asking for the world. I'm asking for my normal hours, decent pay, and maybe some life outside of work. Just maybe, because I got a
Work-life balance
family.
is important,
I got a family.
especially now,
Yeah.
especially after the pandemic. Oh my gosh, work-life balance has become like the thing. But then there's companies out there that are afraid of work-life balance.
Yeah, no, my job says, oh, we want to support you health wise, and we want you to do this, and we want you to do that. And I go,
Then why am I here
wait,
on
wait, wait, wait,
on a Saturday, Janet?
I'm here. I was like, I work Monday to Friday. I said, so you want work life balance, but I want to take off next week. Whoa, 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 whoa! You're asking for a lot.
Right. What is this taking day off thing that you're asking for? Hello?
I'm sick. Come in or have a doctor's note. And in my state where I live, you can be sick up to 3 days before you're required to bring in a doctor's note. And I'm like, this is day one. What are you talking about? Like, I'm not bringing you crap. Mind your business. Stay over there selling.
Right. Stay over there.
Yeah,
You
people don't.
don't need me.
Yeah. Okay. His relentless stream of emails continued around the clock, each carrying a thinly veiled threat, perfection, or dismissal. Under his reign, morale plummeted and burnout soared. Yet Bits remained oblivious, satisfied only by his complete and total control. While I was ashamed when I learned that he was from the same area as I was and had gone to the same school, though years before me. In 2012, our company merged with a parent company. Almost nothing changed personnel wise, but infrastructure wise, we got MS Outlook and an organization view. That's when I first learned that Bits was from an organization hierarchy perspective. His full name was an eye opener. It was Bitsva. Now, the name was common enough, but at the time, mobile numbers had area specific patterns. So I already knew that the previous owner of my number was from the same area as me. Still, it could be someone else. I wanted to dig a little bit deeper. I talked with an old mentor who lived in the same area and had coached several high school students for the last 2 decades. He confirmed my suspicions. I won't go into details, but it was evident that Bitsva and Bits were the same person. I had quite I had been quite pissed that this unknown person named Bits for almost a decade by then, and Bits had been the bane of my and several others' existence for quite some time. This is where the revenge lies. First, I unblocked all the numbers in my phone. I was getting 5 to 6 calls daily on average, but after unblocking about 150 numbers, that increased to 15 to 18 a day.
That's a lot.
My answering strategy changed drastically. Instead of saying wrong number, I politely explained that the owner had changed his number and provided his current number to update their database. This is where I could be the butthole. I volunteered his manager's number in case he tries something else. The fallout was epic. These people have been trying to find him for almost a decade. Banks had sold his debts to companies that harass people for a living to get their money back. And turned out he had been taking loans in everybody's name. His wife, his parents, his uncles, his aunts, and giving everyone the same number, my number. He was evading credit card debt and loans, upwards of 200,000 US dollars, but where they're from, it's a lot more.
So remind me real quick to never get on somebody's bad side like this.
Like,
This is just evil.
bro.
I like this person. I actually want to meet this person. Whoever this person is, they have earned my seal of approval.
Hold on. Here you go, King.
Yep, King.
Like, cause I can't, bruh. I block numbers on the daily because I'm just like, I don't even care. Your number doesn't show up in my phone. We haven't already discussed that you were gonna call me or text me or whatever. Straight to the block list. Like, I don't even ask questions. It could be my doctor. If my doctor didn't tell me in advance that they were calling me on Wednesday, I get a call in, blocking them. I don't have time for spam. I don't have time for people calling me that don't know me. I don't want to care about your grandma. I don't want to hear Jesus. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear. Mind your business. Did I call you? No. Stay over there, please.
Right.
But for this guy to have 15 to 18 calls a day, and the person, Bitsfa or Bits or whatever his name is, owes 200,000 USD in their country. Mind you, US dollars for us, like, is okay, whatever. But like in a lot of countries, for them to have $200,000, they might as well be millionaires. Like, bro, that's a lot of debt to be racking. You just said rack on rack on rack on rack. Like, bro, you could have bought like 8 houses. This man could have bought several houses, rented them out, and paid that debt off so quick with that money. Right. Especially where they are.
What was he spending the money on?
Bound chicken.
I mean, look. I'm not gonna knock that because that could be worth it.
Yeah,
it could be worth it.
Not $200,000 though.
I mean.
But then it's his wife's money. It's not even his money that he's spending. He's spending his wife, his parents, his aunts, and uncles' money. Like, bro, like like, Bits signed his wife, his parents, his aunts, and uncles up for like credit cards or whatever, and then added his name, and then he was spending that cash, just spending. Bro.
Well, he deserved it.
At this point, yeah, like this is not. You're not gonna mess up my number, but I got you.
Right, like you ain't gonna mess up my credit score. What?
Apparently, he had almost 20 cases filed against him, but no one could find him, probably why he thought he could walk on water. There were multiple versions of what happened at the office when his manager started to get calls about him. He was let go about 2 months later, and we haven't heard from him since. Too long did it read. Previous owner of my number had duped several financial institutions. He later turned out to be my shitty boss. I informed banks of his new number and his manager's number, leaving his career in shambles.
Yeah,
bruh.
That's something that our generation would have done.
But see, people don't realize, like, I've seen like some stuff where like people are like playing pranks of people like our age, and I'm sitting here like, y'all really want our demon side to come out. We chilled out so much when that pandemic came around. We used to be experimental. We were the definition of fuck around to find out. And we have these up and coming children who want to be adults, and they keep messing. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. The majority of our generation stands 10 toes down at all times. and y'all not ready for this. You're really not. Like I'm in my early 30s and I will fight somebody on respect
What was
boundaries.
the old saying? Oh yeah, you don't want to go to war,
and
and it's true.
and it's just like we grew up hearing sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. And turn that around and been like, so these words are gonna hurt you.
Right.
We gonna
So the
scar your
words that you
soul.
thought weren't gonna hurt you, yeah, they're gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt a lot. I don't feel sorry for you.
Yeah. And you know how like you always hear those horoscopes and you hear like, oh, these Aquarius are terrible people, and these Scorpios are our generation is the reason why you hear that. Like it's just the worst. Like, and then you wanna hurt us? Okay, I have time. I've made time. I have shut down my schedule to help you find out if you want to be in this situation. I
Yep.
don't understand it. But
I don't either. They always try it though.
yeah. This pro revenge person, he got this. He
Yeah,
stood
he
10
he won.
toes down. He stood on business. He made sure his life was better, and he did it without getting caught. Cuz you see here, he never got fired because he put somebody's personal, like, getting someone's cell phone number and giving it to people. Like, yes, creditors, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like he's selling his company or his clients information, but like that's a big that's a big deal. That's someone's private number. You said, "Hold my beer."
Right. Here you
Like,
go. You found out today, buddy.
yeah. So the moral story, uh, don't piss
Don't
off
mess with
your
people.
employees. Like, your employees are valuable. You should respect them, and that's just it.
And if you do decide to mess with your employees, remember, your employees are your employees.
Hold on one second. What did you say, babe? No, I'm not. I have about 30 more minutes. My husband wants to go sleep soon, so we got one more, and then we'll call it a night.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So no, like we gotta be better as a generation, but at the same time, people gotta stop messing with our generation.
Do we have to be better as a generation?
I mean, we should. We should.
I
I
don't
don't.
think so. I don't like to.
Nah, fam. We good. We good.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like to do an Am I the Asshole or a Best of Reddit update?
You know what? Best of Reddit.
Best of Reddit. Okay. Best of Reddit update. My marriage is failing and I do not know what to do. That's the one we got.
Oh, I don't think we're ready for that one.
It's a relationship one, so they're asking for advice.
Okay, they're asking for advice.
Yeah.
My advice is get out while you can. Run away.
My advice is
Flee.
communication is key.
My advice is run away, flee.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't flee, um, figure out how to flee.
Okay. Okay. Don't more advice. Don't stay in a situation where you're not being respected or listened to, or you know, getting things thrown at you. Be in. Get out while you can.
Get
Any
out while you
form
can.
of abuse is not acceptable. You shouldn't take it. You shouldn't have, those issues. People should be appreciative of the hard work and effort that you put into every day. That,
Yes, because if they don't appreciate you, they were never for you.
yeah. Okay. So the original poster is Rad-Rogue 9. It was originally posted in Two Hot Takes, which is a popular YouTube channel. Um, it's been concluded, but we'll go along the updates. It's a new conclusion, so we're still up to date. It has started in July, so it's not like it's old news. Um, oh, and it was concluded 3 days ago. So cool, cool,
Ooh.
cool. Okay, my marriage is failing, and I don't know what to do. This is probably going to be a long one. I'm not very good at putting my thoughts and feelings into words, so sorry if I seem to ramble. Cool, we got you. We know it's going to be.
Yeah, we got you.
We
You good?
we
You
know it's
good?
going to be a little bit messy. Got you.
Right, right,
My
right.
husband, 27 male, and I, 28 female. So the female's writing this. Okay. Got married 9 months ago. Ooh. Oh, 9 months in. Okay.
Oh, um,
Just
yeah,
stop.
this is
Just
gonna go
let it go.
bad, isn't it?
Just let it go.
Yeah, just go ahead and Control Alt Delete. Just take the marriage and then put it in a trash can, okay?
Most states are no fault states. You could just cut your losses. But let's continue. There might be a reason behind the person staying there. But
Is she pregnant?
Hmm,
I feel like she's pregnant.
maybe. Knock on wood.
It's definitely leaning to pregnancy, isn't it?
Okay. So my husband and I got married 9 months ago and have been together for 4 years. Red flag number one.
Okay.
If you are in a relationship with someone, and most men, most, not all, most men know if they want to marry you within the first year to 2 years of being in a relationship with you.
Try the first week.
Most men. First
First
week.
week.
First week for him. But
Yeah,
like
if
the
you if you if you
average.
if you're not in the first week, bro, then you are not going to
Yeah.
be married, and you just need to let her go because there's gonna be someone else out there that is absolutely gonna love and cherish her.
Yeah.
Period.
But it's the average is a year. They know they want to marry you within a year. And then proposal should happen with a year, 2 years. Kind of that area. You've been together 4 years and 9 months, and you're only been married 9 months out of that almost 5 years. But I digress. We're gonna continue. This is gonna take long just because we're gonna break down your relationship. You ask for advice, we're gonna break it down for you.
Mm-hmm. Because
My
we're qualified because we're married. Okay, not really
eh.
qualified. We're not qualified, but we are married though. We are married.
Okay. Okay. So my husband is the type of person that stays to himself unless absolutely necessary or completely unavoidable. He's an introvert. Just say my husband is an introvert. Cool.
Right. He's an intro. You know what? I'm not even. I'm.
Mm. He's quiet and doesn't really talk to anyone unless he really enjoys their company. He's a gamer and he prefers to spend his free time alone playing video games.
This is gonna go bad, isn't it?
We
This is gonna
joke that
bounce
he's
out.
a hermit because he hates leaving the house. If we do have to go anywhere, he's really anxious after an hour or two in public before he's begging me to go home.
This is gonna go bad. I can already
Should we
see it.
bring it in?
Listen, I've been hearing some random stories about women who are married and have kids, and they
Mm-hmm.
always say, "My husband's a gamer," and suddenly all hell breaks loose because that's the problem. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not the fact that you just didn't communicate with your partner and say, "Hey, I need X, Y, and Z."
Yeah, and then it's
Like,
just you have people who are gamers, and usually some of them are introverts, but like you have gamers, and they go into the relationship saying, "I love playing video games. I occasionally like going out. I like doing these other activities, but I love playing video games." And then
yeah,
you
do
have the
not
little,
separate me from my video
yeah,
games.
yeah. And there's male gamers and female gamers. So gamers themselves say, "I love gaming." And then their partner comes and goes, "Well, I love doing this and this and this, and I like gaming." But here's lies
Yeah,
the
but like
issue.
gaming is a
They like
problem.
gaming once in a blue moon. Your gamers are like, "Let me play. You let me play, I will marry you tomorrow." Like that's where gamers are at. And you have to appreciate that your man or your female ain't cheating and they're just playing video games. Like that's what you gotta do. Like you marry a gamer because their ass is gonna be playing the video game.
You don't ever have to worry about them being anywhere because I guarantee you,
Hey babe,
for
I'm
in
going out with a
front of a game.
girl. Here's a brand new game that you've been looking forward to for 4 months. Homeboy is never leaving the house for the next 4 months. That's how that
Hmm.
works. But okay.
It just happens. That's just how it
Yeah.
is.
And then you also have to communicate with your gamer. Be like, "I have these wants and needs. I love you. I love that you love video
Why
gaming."
did it sound like you just said that like they're a freaking Tamagotchi pet? You have to communicate with the gamer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just like your gamer has needs. Most of them are gaming. But your gamer has needs,
This
but
really
they
sounds like
want to
they're
be in a
talking
really
about them being as a pet.
my gamer, my lovely gamer that's over there. He has his needs.
Uh-huh.
He loves playing
Uh-huh.
his video games. It helps him
Uh-huh.
de-stress. It makes him a happy person. You know what the fuck I let him do? Play video games.
Uh-huh.
That's how life is. And when I need
Must be
something,
nice.
I communicate. I say, "Hey babe, I want to go out on a date. Hey babe, I want to spend, an hour or two watching a movie with you. Hey babe." And you know what he does? Communicates back because he's a gamer and he understands communication is key to winning his games. But
Uh-huh.
that's besides the point.
So what you're saying is that we're doing all this wrong, and and that we shouldn't be doing that, right?
I think people who marry or get in a relationship with gamers have to understand fundamentally your gamer is a gamer, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to accept that, because
Ladies and gentlemen, she cracked the code.
if you don't accept that, you're going to be stuck in a he doesn't love me, he pays me no attention mode for the rest of your life. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. You married a gamer.
So
You
what you're
dated a
saying is
gamer.
that you just cracked the code. Everybody needs to listen to this from here on out, and that is it. That is all.
Okay, well,
Is that what I'm hearing? Because that's what I feel like I'm hearing.
I don't know if that's the truth, but that's just how I feel. But what we have here is a woman who married a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
she's,
rule number one was that you shouldn't have married a gamer if you only like games. You needed
yeah.
to love games
You
because
need to,
then you'll
wait,
actually
wait.
understand it.
You either need to love games or you need
Mm-hmm.
to love your person unconditionally enough to either occasionally play games with them
Mm-hmm.
or leave them alone when they're gaming, or give them a schedule and say, from 8
Please don't
a.m.
put
to
nobody on who
no,
loves
no, no,
gaming
no, no,
on a
no.
schedule.
When I say a schedule, I mean like you have Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays to play games as much as you want. I'm requesting Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Saturday and Sundays we'll figure out as we go. It's on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
I might go shopping, you can play video games all day. Like that's what I mean. Type schedule some time for you guys to spend together, but
Got it.
let your gamer game.
But what if I don't want to?
Then you're not made to be together.
Okay.
Yeah. It's different for every person, and there's no rhyme or rule, but schedule time, and in any relationship, schedule time to be with your significant other. Make
True.
time, because if you don't make time, how are you guys together?
I need to know why people have such a big issue with like scheduling things. Like, just schedule it out, homie. It's not the end of the world.
Because life is life.
I mean, yeah, life can be life, but like, don't don't sit here and not do it. You
Mm,
know,
yeah.
like actually be willing to accept the fact that you married a gamer, be with a gamer, and actually
Hmm.
grow with that great with the gamer. The gamer is just like a Tamagotchi pet. Requires
Tamagotchi.
absolutely, I'm serious, requires absolutely zero maintenance,
Just food
minus
and
the fact
water.
that they just food and water and that safe place to play some video games because you never know. Growing up, they might have been a big gamer.
Hmm.
I was a big gamer growing up, but then I had the worst family life possible. And I had my games taken from me. I've had my PlayStation taken from me. I
Hmm.
had my stuff thrown in the trash. I've had things broken in front of my face. Like, you never
Stolen
know what
from
your gamer,
you.
right? You've never known what your gamer has gone through. And
Hmm.
it should be very important that you understand like your significant other, they want to be there, they want to help. But it's like let them game, bro. Just let them game. It's
Yeah,
okay. Not the end of the
definitely.
world. Let
Mm.
me game.
Okay, I'm almost out of water, so we gotta finish this.
Almost out of water.
Yeah, I've been drinking. This is cup number 7 today of water. So once this is done, I'm done for the night. But I'm almost
Okay.
out. Okay, so he's begging to go. And on the other hand, I love. Okay, so she said we joke that he's a hermit because he hates leaving the house. If we do have to go anywhere, he's really anxious after about an hour or two in public before he's begging me to go home. On the other hand, I love talking to people I care about and seeing them often. I like for my husband to be nearby or in the same room whenever possible, even if we're doing different things. See, that's fine. You're doing different things, but you're still spending time together. That works, okay.
Uh-huh.
I take every chance I have to get out of the house, but I don't really enjoy going to places and doing things by myself. I try to find those little opportunities for connection, but it's been a struggle. Now, the problem. 3 nights ago, we got into an argument that ended up with me sobbing, begging him for more attention, affection, and my husband telling me, I ask about your day and eat dinner with you sometimes. You should be grateful for that. What more do you want? I'm not even sure how the argument started that night, but it wasn't the
Yeah.
first time we had this fight, and it's gotten progressively worse since the wedding. Whenever his phone or computer, whether it's his phone or his computer, my husband is always glued to a screen. He doesn't either bother to look up at me when I try to talk to him. It's gotten to the point where he will come home from work and sit outside in 95-degree plus weather, heat for hours to play on his phone without being disturbed. He'll only come inside for food or to use the bathroom until it's time for bed, and he'll do this without ever saying a word to me. Pause. Where did you guys put in conversation and boundaries before you got married? Because it seems like nothing was put in place. And
Yeah, nothing was.
all of that should have had been a conversation before you got married. Like, how are we going to deal with this? Because but when the engagement is that time that you guys start thinking about moving in together, having those conversations of like what your marriage is going to look like. And if you guys have been together for 4 years before you got married, there should have been a conversation. Like,
I mean,
hey,
for 4
babe.
years, you should have already known what he was like all about right then.
Yeah, like no man is going to take 4 years to hide all his red flags. He's going to be year 2. Okay, I'm comfortable. You're comfortable. Your veil's down, your
Year
guard's
two, start
down.
next week.
Yeah. Like, how did you get to this position? Like, I'm not understanding how you thought this was gonna go differently. You missed something. You closed your eyes. Something.
Yeah, I think she just tried to like not pay attention to it, and it
Hmm.
came back to bite her.
Yeah, probably.
And now it's too late.
It is what it is. You can only expect and be given what you've already accepted from the person.
Yeah, it's like Big Brother. CBS's Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
You, you
That's all
just...
I had to say.
Okay, so I've told him I was lonely and that I missed his company. I've asked him if he lost interest in spending time with me. In the past, we try to find solutions. Sometimes we'd follow through, sometimes we didn't. Lately, his response is always, I'm a boring person and I'm really tired from the heat. It's summertime. We live in southern US and he works construction. But his comment about being grateful is a new low for us. And while emotionally I'm still starving for his attention, I don't know how to move past this. I know my husband idolizes his parents' marriage, separate and content. They spend most of their time apart and only really come together for meals and sleeping, and the occasional check in or serious conversation here and there. While I adore my in laws and clearly see how in love they are, I do not want my own marriage to be like theirs at all. My husband knows this. Why should I be grateful for the bare minimum if I can call it that? What the duck does that even mean, anyways? Does he think I don't deserve more? Am I not worth the effort to him? Pause.
Did y'all have a conversation prior to all this? Because if you
No.
didn't have the conversation, it's basically your fault. You were accepting it at the very beginning 4 years ago.
Yeah. And then on top of that, if you've seen his parents' marriage and that's the example that was set for him, that's what he thinks a marriage should look like. And you marrying him should have known this. You should have seen this. You want to know why I say you should have seen it? Because he left all the windows open. You just had to look through.
Mm.
Because
But she didn't. She
how
loved
do you
him.
get this far in your relationship and not see all this other stuff? Like,
Well, it's because she loved him.
I love my husband, and I definitely looked at his in laws. Definitely saw what the examples are and had a conversation.
I
Ain't
love your
no
husband
way.
too.
Thank you. But it's just like no way you don't see any of this. Like how in the heck? Anyways, I'm
You'd
angry.
be surprised.
OP says, I am angry, I'm hurt, and I'm so effing sad. I don't want to wear my wedding ring. I don't want to share the bed with him. I'm not even interested in talking to him anymore. I've come to the realization that I don't want to be with somebody who makes loving me feel like a chore. My best friends think I should try talking to him again, tell him how I feel, and try to work it out. I don't think it will get us anywhere, as there's no point in having the same conversation in hope that it'll suddenly change things. We've tried couples therapy before getting married. It did help us through some problems that we were having. Shouting out the Gottman method. What's the Gottman method? Hold
I
on,
have no idea.
hold on. I'm out. We gonna look this up, y'all, cause ain't no way we got some random method. Hold on.
You know, there's like
Patience.
5 million methods out there.
Yeah. Yeah. What can I do?
Except say you're welcome.
Okay, the Gottman method. Let's see, let's see. Okay. There's 7 principles. What? Sharing love maps, nurturing fondness and admiration, turning towards each other instead of away, letting your partner influence you, solving your solvable problems, overcoming gridlock, and creating shared meaning together. Okay, that's the 7 principles. It really sounds like just trying to understand your partner and taking time to ask the right question.
Right.
Okay. We're gonna go with that. Okay. She said shout out to it. So I assume it's gonna be great. Okay, okay. Cool. Your guess is as good as mine, Gottman. I love you. Like I don't know what to tell you. Okay. But my husband complained. My couples therapy, it helped us through some problems that we're having. But my husband complained about it a lot. He didn't see the point of the activities we did in each session and straight up refused to do the homework assigned to us. I'd suggest trying therapy again if I thought it would help, but I don't see any outcome that makes me feel like he's paying me more attention without making my husband miserable. Divorce feels like a massive jump, and it would be super messy. Both of our names are on the deed of the house. All our money is one shared bank account. And his mom just co-signed a car for me and added it to her insurance policy to help us save money. Our state requires a minimum of 6 months separation period before filing. My husband's made it clear that he's 100% against divorce being the solution to our problems. So I don't think he would let it be peaceful or an easy separation. Even now, as I type this, my husband is outside watching a movie on his phone. He hasn't made a single attempt to talk to me today, except to ask if I paid a medical bill. I've been crying ever since he told me to be grateful. I feel trapped in a failed marriage. It's like the last 4 years were all for nothing, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do in this situation. Bro.
You've only been married for 9 years.
9
Y'all can
months.
reconcile this.
9
Oh,
months.
sorry, 9 months.
Yeah.
It's reconcilable. It is
Mm-hmm.
perfectly fine. It's hard. Marriage is hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks a lot because you got 2 different people from 2 different walks of life, 2 different styles of life coming together into one. So you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have this difference of opinion, difference of priorities. That's going to happen. That stays the number one driving factor. If you can get through the first 9 months of your marriage, you should be fine going forward because things will just get a little bit easier because you'll start understanding your person more than, before. Either that, or you could just sit back all day and continue to just write on Reddit and be upset at every single thing that your partner is doing, or you try to work on it. So put your big girl undies on and go work for that man because you married him, you chose him.
And on top of that, it seems like all the solutions that you are trying are solutions to help you and not help your husband. It seems very one-sided in a lot of this situation. You walked into a relationship with somebody who was an introvert that has some level of social anxiety on top of the fact that they're a gamer. So those are 3 separate points. And you said, let me pull you out of your comfort zone and make you be out with me in public. Let me drain your constantly. Let me drain your social battery to the point where I know you're uncomfortable and I don't care. And the only time I'm going to fix this uncomfortable level is you beg me to take you home. Then I'm going to interrupt every single one of your gaming sessions, which helps recharge your batteries. And I don't care because I need this wedding to work on my side of the relationship. It does not seem like there's a conversation or an equal balance in this relationship. And I promise you, when I read some of these top comments and stuff, it's going to be like, oh, you should really do this, you did this, whatever.
I feel like most of the comments usually just say divorce the guy.
Yeah. But in this case, the divorce is going to be helpful for you because you're not seeing your husband. You're seeing somebody you want to change. You don't love your husband unconditionally. Your husband does seem to love you unconditionally, but in the scope that he's available to love you. Because he said, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses, and I will love you through all of them. You said, I see your weaknesses and I'm going to attack them. That's all I heard.
Yeah,
This entire thing
that's
has
all I
been
hear.
an attack on his weaknesses, and that's not fair. You're supposed to lift him up, love him, adore him, be there with him. And you had a solution that semi worked. You were chilling next to him and letting him do his own thing, and you were doing your thing. You're doing that. And then, if it needs to be, he's watching movies on his phone. Sit down next to the man, put some headphones in, and watch a movie that you want to watch. Baby, not everything has to be exactly the same in order for things to work out. I have sat
Nope.
next to my husband while he's video gamed and drew on my tablet because I knew I wanted to spend time with my husband. I knew when he wasn't fighting bosses that he'd be able to talk to me. I made it work. I met my husband where he's at. You're telling your husband to meet you where you're at. There's not a meet in the middle. And that's not fair to your husband. I'm sorry, it's just not.
Nope.
People can flame me for it, but you gotta support your spouse. All of it.
Support them or else.
Okay. We've got a couple comments. 1, 2, 3, 4 comments. First comment is by Tommy Chung Un. You both are clearly checked out. Read what you wrote back to yourself. And if your best friend told you her husband is a lazy F and avoids her, would you tell her to stay with him? No. Your husband wants a roommate and you need a partner. Me Love Coffee 99 says, I can't understand why you married this man. You may love him, but the relationship was never going to work because you and him don't fundamentally want the same kind of relationship. Just divorce and learn from this. Take your time, be purposeful when you start dating again. I love that. I love that comment because it's very much you're both in the wrong, but you were wrong from the beginning, not just wrong now. Especially if she's been having this type of fight over and over again. I
Right.
just, I'm sorry. This relationship wasn't for you, but you do you. Okay,
But are they gonna do them though?
no, no. It's none your biz. Is I'm sorry about this. I'm sorry, but this is not going to work out. You have two different needs and expectations. While that can be improved by counseling, it sounds like the core difference are really about who you are as people. The original poster replied, the only reason my parents are still together is because their religion does not allow for divorce, and their status within the church community is too important to them to risk ruining their marriage. My parents resent each other in silence. I want nothing like my parents' marriage. Okay,
There's so much I can
you're
say
already
about that,
there.
but I am not going
She's
to.
already resenting her husband. I don't know where she thought she wasn't resenting her husband. And everyone above that said you should duck out while you have the chance. But you're like, I don't want to leave. You don't want to be hating your husband. Leave on semi decent terms where you're both will be like, we're gonna go out and find the next person for us that's okay. Because mind you, I am not an advocate for divorce. I think there's always a conversation you could have until the cow gets beaten home. But if you are this incompatible from day one, why did you get married, bruh? Um,
Because some people like the idea of it.
but marriage isn't an idea. It's a commitment. It's a covenant between you and your spouse. And my spirituality says Yahuwah. Other people say God. It's whatever. You made a commitment to your spouse, and you should honor that. That's just how it is. You should honor that day in and day out. Um, but you definitely need to meet your spouse where you're at, and you have to start those boundaries day one. Not day one of marriage, but day one of dating. Because otherwise, how are you going to know if you're compatible with this person? It seems like you're starting all these boundaries as you got married, but now you're incompatible. That's not how that works. Um,
Yeah. Oh, you know what you remind me of? That commercial from State Farm. That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
You sound incompatible like you've always been. I'm sorry, but with this many differences, why did you even get married? What held you guys together before marriage? OP responds, we share a lot of the same interests.
Sex.
Well, equivalent agency 58, 588 said that first part. OP responded, we share a lot of the same interests, same taste in music, same love for horror movies. I actually enjoy video games too. I just don't commit nearly as much time to them as he does. Sorry, he wasn't always like this. In the beginning, he'd go outside for a smoke, maybe doom scroll TikTok for 15-20 minutes, then come back inside and hang out. We cook together, talk about our day, maybe even watch an episode of a show or the first bit of a movie together. Sometimes I'd even sit outside with him. I don't know what happened, but that all started to slowly change after we bought our house last year. When he does actually give a poop, he's incredibly kind and a caring person. I've always had a smile on my face around him up until this week. Okay. That makes me question A, is he actually committed to you? B, how much stress or emphasis did you put on him about buying this house? And were you both financially stable enough to have this house? Because one, it sounds like he wasn't ready to move into this house with you. Two, and it seems like he's really, really stressed out from work. He said that he needed time and space because he was hot from work and being outside all day, and he works in construction. So how many extra hours is your husband picking up to pay for this house? How much extra time is your husband spending outside this house? Mind you, when you're doing construction, you're not doing it by yourself. So you're socializing to a point. How much time is your husband spending taking care of you financially? And then you burn him out more. If your husband is being burnt out like that, I would not blame him for wanting to alone time. Because he's like, we bought a house together. We have to pay for this house. Construction jobs, depending on what level you're on, might not pay that much. So he might have to pick up overtime hours anywhere he can get it. And you're asking him for more.
Yeah, nobody really thinks about that.
Burnout is
Men's
real.
mental health is very real.
Yeah, burnout is real.
Oh,
and
you went for the burnout. I went for the men's mental
no,
health.
no. And I'm not talking about like work burnout. I mean relationship burnout. This man is burnt out on your relationship. He's not just burnt out like, oh, work is stressing me. He's burnt out because work is stressing you. You're stressing him. The house is stressing him. Finances are stressing him. And you're asking for not just one-on-one time, but 1-on-5 times where you want him to be with your friends and your family out here and out there. He wants to be at home in the quiet where he doesn't have to talk to anybody because he spent all day in the sun. Give this man a break. Give him an effing break. I'm on your husband.
Break.
No, I'm on your husband's side right now. I'm sorry. This just seems a lot. You seem to have put a lot of pressure on this man.
Yeah, but she doesn't care.
No, why would she? She's the woman. And I say that as a woman. I do want to do, before we get into the update, I do want to have a conversation with you podcast wise in the future about some stuff that I've been seeing social media wise, and I think you would be a good perspective. And I want to see if we can get some more of the adults, some of them that are relationships, some of them that are single, parents, non-parents, and kind of just have a conversation of where we are in the world and see what people think. And I might see if
we're in hell in the handbasket.
yeah, that part. But I want to see different people's perspectives on relationships and stuff like that. And I'll even see if I can drag my husband because there's a lot. There's a lot going on. Yeah, so that's for a future. Just so you guys know. It's not tonight. But okay, the update 3 days later. First off, I want to say thank you to everyone that commented. I read as many as I could. You guys are not very nice, but this is Reddit. Do I appreciate some of the insights? I do appreciate some of the insights offered.
You came to Reddit.
Yeah, we didn't come to you, babe. We didn't sneak into your DMs. You snuck into ours.
All right. You made me have to talk to you.
Okay, second, I want to answer some reoccurring questions. No, my husband wasn't always like this. I knew he was an introvert because we were friends for 2 years. You were friends for 2 years and you're doing this to him? Man. Oh, he got sucker punched. Anyways, because we were friends for 2 years before we started dating, I fell in love with all his little personality quirks. They're not quirks. That's who he is. I hate when people call him quirks. But anyways.
Okay. Personality quirk.
All his little personality quirks. And we had long discussions about both of our expectations long before the idea of marriage was ever on the table. I never wanted to fix him, nor did I ever expect him to change himself for me. However, I don't expect the internet to understand the intricacies of a relationship between two individuals based off of one post. In the beginning of our relationship, I gave him his space when he needed it, but he would always return the affection that I needed from him. This avoidant behavior began right after we got married. More on this later. My husband is not autistic. He was tested twice as a child, as I found out from my mother in law. He was just very antisocial. Pause. He needs to be tested as an adult because the tests when you're children and you're. Hold on. Scroll up. How old are they again? You are 20. He's 27 and you are 28. The tests that are out there now for autism, and this is coming from somebody who works in that category, are so different than they were 20 something years ago. Get your husband tested. Please, every year, every single test that's on the books for autism, for physical disabilities, for other mental disabilities, for blood testing, for disease testing, everything changes every year. Science is always updating. Processes are always updating. Your computer updates in a year. Your phone updates in a year. You don't think the
Bro, your
test for
computer
autism.
updates every hour.
But I'm saying the programs and all this stuff, they update frequently. And you don't think the test for autism would update? Get your husband tested and get yourself tested. And he could have ADHD. He could have something. He could have anxiety. He could have trauma that he's not telling you about that is reoccurring or coming more prevalently right now. You don't know what's going on in his head and you're just assuming. But anyways, I'm sorry. I am a person who works with kids with autism. I work with adults who have autism. I'm very, very passionate about it. But anyways, my husband is not autistic. He's tested twice as a child, as I found out from my mother-in-law. He's just very antisocial. Together we have a very small, close-knit group of friends that he really enjoys being around. Outside of those chosen few, he doesn't like people. However, we both have untreated yet high-functioning ADHD. Okay, that would have been nice to know earlier. My husband's idea to do it was my husband's idea to do couples therapy before getting married. At the time, there was nothing wrong in our relationship. Simply put, we both saw the benefits of premarital counseling and premarital counseling could have had for us in the long run. How to effectively communicate emotions, how to properly resolve arguments, sharing household responsibilities, and keeping our marriage interesting 5, 10, 50 years down the road. My husband complained because most of the activities we did were at least 20 years old and felt outdated, i.e., taking messages from the landline voicemail. Who the F still uses a landline? I'm sorry, I have a landline. Fuck you.
I have a landline.
That being said, we still learned some great tools that we've been able to implement in our marriage. They really work for us. So we stopped therapy once we no longer needed a mediator. Sounds like you need a mediator. Also, if the methods you use are outdated, you go find another therapist who will give you more updated ones. That's how that works. You don't just stick with the first one you got. You jump around. You find that person. But what do I know? It's just been therapy since most of my childhood. But okay. Finally, the update. Buckle up, y'all. This is about to be a long Saturday night, I decided I was going to leave. I knew I needed some genuine time and space away from my husband to get my head on straight and figure out if a divorce was really what I wanted in the situation.
Tell me she cheated.
Hold on.
Just get to the end.
So I called my parents and arranged for them to keep my dog for a couple weeks. Yesterday morning, my best friend told me she was getting a guest room ready for me, and I started packing up my things. My husband came home from work a little early and saw all my stuff by the front door. He started crying and asked between sobs if I was leaving. All I did was nod my head and continue packing. What happens next feels like a blur. It's important to note here that a storm had knocked our power out earlier that morning, and it had not come back on at this point. So the house wasn't cool as usual. My husband's crying became faster, and I heard him mumble something about a headache. He dropped off his work stuff and stumbled to a bathroom and started vomiting. Curiosity got the best of me, and when I peeked in to check on him, I knew something was wrong. His breathing had become shallow and rapid, and he was sweating more now than when he walked in. He looked pale and was slurring his words a little. When I put my hand on his neck to see if he was okay, his skin was clammy and burning up. I realized in this moment that there was a strong chance he was having a heat stroke. Helped my husband out of his work clothes into a cool shower, then went to find him some loose fitting clothes and ice packs. Once he was out of the shower and dressed, I drove him straight to the small emergency room down the street. After the initial assessment, it was determined that my husband probably not having a heat stroke, but severe heat exhaustion. His body temperature started coming down after they put on one of those air-filled cooling blankets over him, but he was still very weak and dehydrated. The doctor decided to keep him for observation while doing a few rounds of IV fluids. We were able to come home in the middle of the night after a bunch of different tests were done to make sure there was no damage to my husband's organs. While we waited, we had a lot of time to talk about any distractions. There was a lot of crying from both of us, and we finally got to the bottom of things. I won't bore you with all the details, but in 2023,
Bore me with all the details, homie. You
yeah,
already got me here.
I won't bore you with all the details, but 2023 was not a good year for me. It started when my husband's truck flipped after getting hit by a drunk driver. We were wearing our seatbelts and managed to walk away with only some aches and bruises, but I developed PTSD and began having panic attacks while driving. I was under a ton of stress from planning our wedding, which caused high blood pressure and horrible migraines. At the time, I was experiencing a massive burnout from working in healthcare for the last 4 years, and during COVID pandemic, I was diagnosed with manic bipolar disorder and was coping with infertility diagnosis all within 6 months. My mental health was tanking, and I honestly just needed a little extra emotional support. This was around the time the arguments for more attention began. My husband and I eventually sat down to figure out a solution to my worsening mental state. We both agreed that I could benefit from taking extended time away from work, seeing as my symptoms were made worse by stress. My husband was happy to let me play housewife for as long as I needed. Well, he provided for us, but I got bored easily staying home all day. I made the decision to quit my job last Christmas and took a higher paying part time job after the start of the new year. So your husband takes on the bulk load of the finances, and you just moved into a new house, and you just got married, and you guys were just in an accident, and you have trauma from that accident that he has to deal with. Oh, okay. So I was right. You were putting a lot on his shoulders. Okay. Even and he probably had to work extra hours to make up the fact that you're not working full time and you also stayed home for a good period of time. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. Say less. Even though my mental health was getting better, the arguments over attention started to get worse. My husband started to withdraw a bit, and what started to get as give me 15 minutes to finish the game, then we can watch a movie or grab food, turn into go ask a friend to hang out, or pick up some extra shifts at work if you don't want to stay home. I did those things, and even started reading more, and finally got around to decorating our house. It's clear he wanted a space, so I kept busy. I tried to find things to do together he might enjoy, so we planned 4 vacations over the next year for us to look forward to, our first trip just being 2 months away. I still feel lonely and continue to ask for affection, but only made him withdraw more, and as the summer started, his reason was being too tired from the heat. Now we have had a lot going on in our lives over the past month or so. I made the decision to start working full time again, and I was a little nervous about it, which probably prompted me to bring up the need for more attention. My original post was less about his behavior as a whole and more specific on his comment about being grateful. This comment was completely out of character for my husband and caught me off guard. In the moment, my feelings were hurt, and I truly believe he meant what he said, that I should be grateful for the bare minimum treatment. It made me question our entire relationship and whether or not this marriage would work if that's truly how he felt. Needless to say, in this 18-page paper, needless to say, the heat really was messing with his head. When I asked my husband why he thinks I should be grateful for how he's been treating me in our marriage, he doesn't remember saying that or even having the argument in the first place. The entire weekend, he knew I was upset with him, but he couldn't figure out why. So he kept his distance until he felt like I had calmed down enough to talk about. Coming home and seeing me ready to leave was his tipping point. Turns out my husband has been severely depressed since switching crews at work. His last superintendent dropped the ball on his promotion before sending him to work overnights in a chemical refinery turnaround. Then the job was finished. My husband got placed with a superintendent that openly does not like him and has no documented history of treating my husband badly due to the color of his skin or lack thereof. Over the last few weeks, this superintendent has been giving my husband a really hard time and is now refusing to sign the company endorsement paperwork for him to begin operator school. My husband has been keeping all of this balled up inside, letting it eat away at him because he was too worried the stress of the situation would flare up my symptoms and trigger a manic episode. That's why he's been isolating himself so much. Paired with the heat, he had completely checked out mentally because he was trying to protect me. I'm sorry to disappoint so many of you, but I love my husband. I've decided to stick by his side as we work through this together. My husband has agreed to set timers in order to limit his screen time. We are going to try therapy again, both together and individually, to work out communicating better and dealing with stress. Right now, he's still resting from the heat exhaustion, and hopefully he will be better by this weekend. So we knew it from the beginning. We said it early on. You're overstressing your husband. You both have mental trauma. You have some trauma that he doesn't necessarily have. He has some trauma that you don't have. He has trauma from you because he's been trying to take care of you when your trauma started. But it sounds like you didn't check in with him. So therefore, his trauma wasn't accounted for. You were both in your partner. You were both in that truck. You both got into that car accident, but you are the only one who got help. That tells me so much. And then, on top of everything else, he knows that as his wife and him being the introvert in the situation, he tells you he's upset with work. He tells you getting bullied. You gonna stand 10 toes down and punch his boss. That's how we crazy wives are. Someone is upsetting our husband. The second we get permission, meaning you've complained more than 5 times about one person, we are standing on business and protecting you to the best of our ability. He kept you out of jail. He made sure you had a roof over your head. He made sure you had everything you needed to heal. And yet he was struggling. The first thing you thought was, how do I leave my husband? Not what's going on in his daily life that is potentially upsetting him. You ran to Reddit before you ran to your husband, and that's disrespectful.
Yeah, it's wrong. Never do that.
This is bad. Okay, her last sentence is, thank you again for all your advice, even though I won't be taking it. Top comment was, I hate those type of people. Yeah, I hate that too. I feel like the house being a little bit warmer than usual, resulting in a heat stroke, might be a buried lead. Yep, I live in Texas, and lately the humidity, even all the way up north from Beryl, has been unbearable. We have days where it was 95 degrees, but the humidity makes it 110. It feels like 92 right now.
How to actually stop burying the lead. That's what they teach you in journalism school. It's like rule number 1: do not bury the lead because you'll lose the reader.
But it was literally the whole time, like the whole first post was me, and the second post was like, not purse. I'm sorry, I didn't mean purse. Post. The second post was like, us, him, us. And I was like, oh, there is equality. There is equality.
Yeah, there's equality there. It's still all me.
Yeah. But you finally opened your eyes and saw that your husband needed you, and that was the important part to me.
Yeah, it just took a little too long.
And then,
Man almost keeled over and died.
yeah, and you were so worried about whether or not your feelings were hurt. She didn't even check in on her husband's feelings, and that's so sad.
Do they ever though?
I check in on my husband's feelings because he matters to me, and I want him to be happy.
Well,
And
see, that's your husband.
I can't speak for all women, but there are some women like that out there. Men, find that woman. Find that woman.
Find that women.
Yeah, not that woman. Women. And then pick from the litter, you know? Find the group and pick from the litter. Don't sit with them hussies. That's another conversation for later. Let's see. They were talking about.
I thought you were out of water.
I am. No, I have a little bit more.
Doesn't that mean that you gotta go?
I have one more gulp. Hold on. Someone said, "I'm sorry to disappoint many of you. No one here is personally invested in you ending your marriage. You presented the situation very differently the first time around, and you got advice that fit that narrative that you presented. A story about two people who aren't compatible. In the light of what you shared about your own struggles and patterns, I'm glad you're getting individual therapy, and two of you are getting couples therapy. It seems like you really need that kind of support." It's so weird. I just read OP's original story and presented therapy like they weren't interested in. Now in this post, it was his idea. It's crazy how many details were left out in the original post. She's all like, "I didn't expect the internet to understand the intricacies of our relationship between individuals based off of one post." Well, especially most of the pertinent details are missing.
Yeah, those important details are very important. And that's the reason why they're called important details, you know, because they're important.
Oh, this is my grand favorite by Contribution Ordinary 29. I've been having a really hard year, OP. Husband quietly works himself to near death and not to bother his wife. I need more attention. She should have wrote those 3 sentences and then just said, "Oh, by the way, he had a heat stroke." We would have gone to this conclusion a lot faster.
Yeah.
Like,
bro, like we just wasted our time that we won't get back, you know. It's
and
okay.
why should it be? Because
it's not like I wanted to survive and live my life and, you know, relax
and
or
just
anything.
Do, you know, productive things in life. Like, how dare
productive.
we?
Very much so. How dare we?
Well, Darius, I appreciate this. This was fun. I can't believe the people on Reddit. I'm going to be doing more Reddit stories for you guys. Hopefully Darius and the gang will join me. Darius most especially, because even though we are very similar and been friends for the longest, OG Darius, that's this guy. At the end of the day, we have different lives. We're living different lives. He lives in the South. I live in the North. You know, he's a man. I'm a woman. We have different, you know, different paths, all that good stuff. So we'll give different perspectives. But one thing we do know, you got to take care of your hubbies. Because otherwise, there's no point. But outside that, y'all, I appreciate you guys watching, coming to visit. Check out Darius's channel, NekoDarius. I will put the link in the description because your boy needs every shout out, every view. He's got a store, so he's got cute little shirts. I saw them. I'm getting one. I just have to wait until next week because my husband says I'm spending too much money.
Okay.
But yeah, so we will be doing that. I will be giving you guys the heads up. This will probably come out the right before I go on vacation, so I will not be around to do live streams and stuff like that, so you won't be getting super fresh content, but I will give you, you know, shorts and all that good stuff. Things will keep rolling.
But I want the fresh content though.
I can't have you when I'm pretty on the beach. I gotta cover up, be a little bit more modest. I'm married. I can't be a hoe.
Okay.
But yeah, this was great. I appreciate Darius. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for being amazing. I'm gonna go watch one of your Among Us videos as I go fall asleep. But see you guys next time. This is your girl Nici, and that is NekoDarius. Ciao.
I'll see you guys around.